One major fight is going to decide this map without a shadow of a doubt. There's the headshot. Needs one more.
Welcome back, everyone, to the spoiler-free Guns of Boom Season 2 Challenger Series Spring Season. I'm Jason Kaplan, joined once again here on the desk. Hopefully, going to be sticking true to what I said before about being spoiler-free.
On the stream, yeah. The chat, maybe not so much. You might want to cut that away.
Probably not look at chat if you have not
seen the next, like, 2 weeks, or at least until you see the movie.
Well, if you haven't seen it in 2 weeks, then you probably should be getting the movie spoiled for you. But anyways, we do have some spoilers of what's going to be going down today. It's going to be Week 6, or Cup 6, of EU and North America will be happening throughout today. We'll be starting off with EU, and of course, transitioning later on into North America. We're bringing you 2 semifinals, a 3rd, 4th place match, and of course, the finals to see who takes home the big points. As we are shaping up to pretty much determine what 2 teams will be going to Brazil here, Blue, and pretty much just like a week, we should know generally who's going to be in those top places.
Yeah, it's coming down to the wire now in these last few weeks of competition, and it's been fun for Europe, right? Because it's been a lot harder to predict. North America's still had its leaders for the most part, and we're going to probably see that come out on top once again today. But Europe's been a lot harder to predict. A lot of the top-level teams have been getting upset. You know, even outside of the semifinals where we actually cover things, it's even been happening prior to that as well. So it's been a bit of a rocky few weeks for Europe, but that's fun, right? Because that means we get a lot of new teams, a lot of new players getting their chance to in the limelight as well, and it makes for some really cool competition.
Yeah, and speaking of like the standings that we have in Europe, we should take a look at those in a few seconds, and you can see there the gap between 2nd and 3rd place that was once 75 points a couple weeks in and stood that way up until last week has finally dwindled down to a 10-point difference here between DustTwo eSports and forZe, who was previously 2nd ranked. So this now means the top 2 teams go through into the Pro Series Brazil. If DustTwo can maintain this kind of form, they could steal away this slot from forZe, who unfortunately didn't have that great of a showing just, what, a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago in Texas? And this is definitely some big games here for forZe.
That is the big focus right now, is if we can see forZe properly recover, if we can see them bouncing back up and getting into a better position now for, you know, qualifying for Brazil. Or is DustTwo going to completely upset and keep things rolling? There's that opportunity as well to potentially see Lazarus drop out, but thankfully they still have a little bit more of a safer lead compared to everybody else, so they're in much safer territory as long as they maintain generally the same form that they've had over the past few weeks. There's not too much of a risk of them getting bumped out.
Well, speaking of that, let's take a look at the brackets now. So you can see the 4 teams that we'll have competing throughout the course of tonight. It's going to be Lazarus up against Noble as our first semifinal, and then forZe up against DustTwo as our second. One team, though, missing here, Blue. One team that's helped eliminate that giant gap between 2nd and 3rd place. Knights, who previously placed 2nd in the last 2 cups, has not made it through into the semis.
So it seems that their streak has finally come to an end, unfortunately. We were hoping we would see them be able to bounce forward and continue to upset. They managed to make it all the way up to 5th place, and this is like a jump all of a sudden basically coming from the bottom of the leaderboard as well. So it was a real meteoric rise, I guess you could say, for this team, but unfortunately haven't been able to make it to the semifinals this week, so we won't be showing them on stream. We do, however, get in that very first match, that nice rematch from the Gods of Boom that we had at Katowice about 2 months ago.
Question is, will it come down to another 4-0, or I guess in a best-of-3 case, a 2-0 in favor of Noble if you missed out on that tournament? But Noble, you saw, currently in 4th place at 200 points. They definitely need a victory here today to have any sort of chance to get through to first. And even at that rate, they have to hope in the next cup that DustTwo, Lazarus, or forZe just all have terrible performances. But for what we've seen over the past, 5 cups, that's not likely going to happen.
No, certainly not going to be the case, especially with us coming down to the wire here towards the end of the season now, and teams more so, I think, focused on trying to qualify for the Pro Series in Brazil. They're going to be less prone to make mistakes. They're going to be a lot more focused on these individual matches, and more so want, of course, to qualify, so they'll be a lot more focused overall, which means, of course, there's going to be less and less chance for an upset, in my opinion.
So can we talk about something real quick before we do actually get the game fully in? Unbreakable, kind of a letdown this season, I have to say. They were #1 by a large margin at the end of the Winter Series. Then they placed terribly in the last cup, which knocked them down into 2nd place. The thing is, like, they got, 5 points max for that cup, and were still able to maintain 2nd place. That's how far of a lead they had over everyone else. But they've just been non-existent. Currently in 6th place at 170. I know they had to switch out a player. I think it was Deathface did have to drop out, and someone else came in. So maybe really find it hard to fill the gaps, fill those shoes that he did leave for his team. But they've not been able to perform, and I think they have no chance of getting through yet again. And again, we did see them at the Gods of Boom event, or not Gods of Boom, the Guns of Boom Pro Series event in Texas, and they didn't have that great of a showing either. My question now to you, Blue, is there going to be a team that can compete with NA? Because both European teams lost to the NA teams, Enix and Impact.
Yeah, I mean, that's really going to be the question as we move into the LAN finals, right? Is anyone going to be able to contend with what seems to be the dominant force in NA? That could have a double-edged sword to it, though, that the NA teams seemingly don't have as much inter-regional competition, and that the European teams maybe have a little bit more meshing going on there. Maybe you're coming up with better strategies amongst themselves and are just kind of self-improving because the scene is more competitive. So we'll have to see when we get to LAN again. But, like you said, Texas being a resounding favor towards the North American teams does lend it to believe that NA seems to be the much more dominant region right now.
I mean, Impact didn't drop a single map over the course of that event. I'm curious, though, moving into Brazil, will we see 2 Latin American spots in the tournament? I would assume yes, just based on the fact that it's in their home country.
I don't think so.
I don't think it's actually going to happen. And if anything, there wasn't really like a second team that was able to really compete against Brazucas. But then again, Brazucas did switch around their roster quite a bit coming to the event. They had quite a few different substitutions into that. But we're actually going to kick things off here. It's going to be Lazarus up against Noble. We'll get back to talking about Texas and obviously about the other teams a little bit later on today. But let's kick things off here on Paradise Island.
And just to clarify, yeah, it is only one Latin American team that manages to go through into the Brazil Pro Series Finals. Only the first place out of their region is going to qualify. But here we go with the Noble players able to take initial control of the hill. It's going to be Migs trying to hold on. Unfortunately, he's got that burn dot on him, which is going to bring him down pretty low. It looks like he's got a few players already moving in to be able to support that and maintain control for Noble.
Okay, so 157 points and ticking here. Gonzaldino is going to be sitting on point. Very low HP, though. He's going to have to back away. Lord Mono is going to be there, and he should get some decent damage in. He's able to do just that. By the way, for people watching at home, we are aware there is no in-game audio, but that should be sorted coming into the next maps, or at least the next match at a maximum. So hopefully we get it fixed up and ready to go for you guys at home. But so far, this has been a very commanding lead here for Noble so far. Like 140 points. They're continuing to build on this right now. Lazarus is struggling to get any of these eliminations on top of that.
Noble's got a lot to prove here, especially if they still have aspirations to make their way back into the top 2. It's going to be a little bit unlikely at this point, but if they can upset Lazarus and knock them out, they'll take that as well. However, it seems as though Lazarus finally commits themselves to the push here, and he's going to be able to successfully steal away the hill to start ticking things at least slightly back into their favor.
You see, though, Georgia trying to come around the corner. Romeo just instantly shuts him down. Nokia's going to be there to get the trade on that elimination. Excellent's going to take down Nokia. Will anyone take down Excellence? Is going to be my question, and I can tell you right now, at least not for this moment. Okay, of course. Commentator Series comes in, Migs just swings in behind, gets the quick elimination, keeps the point in their favor. And this is looking good here for Noble. Where has this Noble been all season?
Some improvements being made, to be sure. Like we said before, obviously them dropping out of even really, almost the top 5 as they're down in 4th place right now. Really needed to kind of wake up. Otherwise, they are very much going to be placing very low when it comes to the next Gods of Boom event, which they do already have a place in. But with the online results being somewhat lackluster, be falling off a tad. They don't want to have that pitiful performance happen on LAN when we get to the Gods of Boom event in just a few months.
See, on that note, I remember Nokia saying to us, they're not super focused on qualifying for the Pro Series events, which to me was like, wait, what? There's a lot of money you can win at these events. There's a lot of money you can win week in and week out, and you don't want to seem weak to these other teams. Like, you still have a couple months to go before that event, so why would you ever let your foot off the gas? You want to show your dominance. But maybe for them, actually, it would have been good for them to actually get some experience up against Impact and some experience up against Enix to actually prepare for the matches that are going to be coming up later on in the year. But anyways, back to this game, you can still see Noble able to maintain this control. I feel like they've only lost the point for a handful of seconds over the course of the time allotted so far in this round, and it seems like there's just no signs of stopping.
So Noble will continue to hold on here. Lazarus are at least trying to fight to keep this midpoint neutral. It looks like Excellence may be able to steal it away. And yes, they do get the job done, but unfortunately the score is still very much in the favor of Noble at this point. It's going to take a solid another minute or 2 here before they can bring it back. And unfortunately, there's like 2 minutes left in the actual game. So they need to do this a little bit quicker. Nice hold from Romeo here so far, but it's not going to be enough. Nokia moves in, nearly steals away the point, but it's actually swinging a little bit back and forth. And the problem is with just kills being the way that players are earning points at the moment, Noble is still ultimately going to win this in a trade spree just by the nature of the lead that they have.
Exactly, and that's why it's so important to get like a nice early lead in pretty much every game mode, because you can just play off of that, play off the fact that you have such a massive lead and you don't need to play around the objective. And that final elimination will come through. Noble will take a very commanding victory, 1,000 to 646, a nice 354 point difference. What is with me? I am just nailing my math on these shows. I don't know, maybe it's the consistent practice. But you just see, like, that was a very one-sided match. And I feel like maybe Noble just seems to be the kryptonite of Lazarus.
Yeah, so we're going to have to see now if Noble's going to be able to continue to improve upon that. Now, to be fair, if we go back to when these teams played at the Gods of Boom event that we had at IEM Katowice a few months ago, we generally tended to see Noble thrive a bit more on the maps that relied a little bit more on kind of team strats and whatnot, so the objective-focused maps. However, the deathmatch maps, which is going to be the one that we're moving into next, did start to swing a little bit more into Lazarus's favor. So we'll have to see if that's going to continue to hold true, and maybe they have a chance to bounce back, and then one more hope for redemption if we go to a capture point map.
I'm trying to think if, looking at Guns of Boom as a whole, if teams generally are able to bounce back. And I want to say, yeah, I feel like teams that have lost matches very one-sided or very close, just it doesn't really seem to affect them. It comes down to, what mode they're going to be comfortable on. And we can go back to that, analogy about the pizza I was talking about last week. No, we're not going to go back to that analogy. But I don't know. I mean, I would assume going into TDM, they should be more comfortable, but you saw still in the point difference, how many eliminations more Noble was able to get than their opponents of Lazarus. So going into TDM, is things really going to change here for them?
Especially in the opening few moments, it really did seem like Noble was just kind of, running them over for a larger extent of that map right there. Did a really good job of even spawn trapping them for a few seconds as well and being able to just farm kills off of that. So now the question is, are they going to be able to find a way out of that? It's obviously going to be a lot harder. Actually, I'm going to take that back. It's very easy from what we've seen in past games to spawn trap people on our TDM map that we're moving into in a second here as well. So if they can establish the same thing, which to be granted, it's probably going to take them at the very minimum a few more minutes to try and establish that type of control. But if they can get to that point, we could very much end up with a sort of one-sided affair again.
I swear, I thought I heard you say take it for granted.
Oh.
And it instantly threw me back to Rick and Morty for some reason. Was it Morty's Mindbenders or something like that was the episode? I was recently just watching it less than a week ago. But you're right. I mean, we just saw a complete whitewash out of Noble off the get-go. And, of course, we have Old Factory coming up next. We have Europe Square coming up third if we do need a third map. And to give you guys some insight into the best of fives that will be kicking off after our next semifinal, will be Farming Complex, Military Complex, Wild West Saloon, Skyscrapers, and Atrium. So I think it's actually exactly reminiscent of what we had last week, if I'm not mistaken.
It should be the same maps every week, I think.
Is it?
Pretty sure it is.
Then why do I keep looking it up and writing it down every week? This would save me so much time if I just
every time I've put it in my notes, it's been the same apps. So
you know what? I'm legitimately gonna look.
Are you
back
gonna check this out?
Because if it is,
I am 99% sure
stupid.
they are the same maps every single week.
Dear Lord, it is.
Did you not self-realize that on the second week you wrote it down?
How have I not caught on to this? I've been doing this for this is the 8th week?
Yeah, you've been doing it longer than I have.
Oh my God, it is the same. I'm back to Cup 3. Hold on. No, I don't believe you. I'm going back to Cup 2.
I mean, maybe because it still would have been
God, it is the same in Cup 2.
I was going to say, maybe when you started, it was qualifying for Texas, so it was still the Winter Series, and that
could be.
Maybe it switched over to the Spring Series. You didn't realize it?
Where is it?
Stand by, folks. 1 second.
Oh my God.
Ollie.
No.
Ponders' journal.
Oh my God, it's literally been the same every week, even in the Winter Series last Cup.
This is what's great about having your notes done with technology instead of paper. So it's just a screenshot. You gotta sync it into your notes on your computer.
Yeah, I have a screenshot right here.
It's not a screenshot though. That's a
mental screenshot.
That's a note shot or a pen shot here.
Okay, well today I learned that every map is the same in semis and finals and has been for the last 8 weeks.
Yeah, for a while now.
I also learned if spoiler alert, Batman killed Superman. But if you haven't seen that one, then that's your bad.
Did he though?
Yeah, he did kill him.
Not in the recent one.
No, he did kill him in Batman vs Superman.
The recent one?
Well, Doomsday killed him.
Yeah, I was about to say
Batman caused it. It's Batman's fault for causing the fighting. Fighting's bad. At least
Batman didn't cause Doomsday though. That was Lex Luthor. You need to watch that movie again.
Okay, you know what? I go ahead and never mind. I'm not even gonna be mean to you.
I'm like 2 for 2 on getting you on comic book lore today.
You're such a nerd, Blue. All right. Okay, so we're actually hopping into our next map here. We're gonna kick this off in a second. Snowball up against Lazarus. Do apologize for the delay there, really quickly. But hey, we have game sound. Batman kills Superman, no matter what Blue says, and we're gonna get into this one.
But he didn't though. Let's get into it. Obviously, a much slower start this time. Both these teams being relatively experienced. They know that an aggressive start normally doesn't end up going too well for the team that takes it. So it looks like both of them are going to sit back a little bit more and kind of wait for their opponent to peek out first.
Now, this is a little off topic really quickly, but I wonder if someone heard me say a spoiler alert and they just closed the stream right away.
No!
I'm sorry! I hope you didn't. I hope you're still here with us. I was just kidding. I told you there's no spoilers in the show today at all. 35-46.
I wouldn't be surprised if someone created a macro where if they just see the word spoiler on a page, just automatically closes that page or something like that.
Yeah.
No chances being taken.
But you think about it, who's the type of person to do that? You know, the spoil
stuff. You know, I was about to tweet this earlier. I was like, I really want to like sit one of those people down in like a therapist's office and like examine, you know, what exactly led to them finding joy in that in their lives.
Just probably someone that loved them enough as a child. In the meantime, though, speaking of love, is being spread around here between both teams in the form of bullets. 109 to 108, so 1 point difference between the two teams at the moment. Noble going to be behind, albeit by 1 point. But again, we're seeing that burn damage come through in Divine King. You had to be careful, son! Oof. I feel like he should have just rushed and got damage done instead of just burning, doing nothing himself.
I think he might have had a heal up in the middle of that, and he thought he might have just been able to survive it and try to kind of peek a little bit after it expired, but no, it didn't end up being the case. Noble, though, still ends up taking a very small lead. It's only, again, only 20 points, and obviously here in TDM, that can change up in just a second or two. So it's not guaranteed by any way, shape, or form. But what these teams are playing really passively, like the score is actually usually a lot further along by this point. So I wouldn't be surprised this, you know, for the first time in a while, ended up going down a timer. But of course, it's a little bit early to judge that. We'll see how the rest of the game ends up going here.
Please tell me the commentator's curse is real for you as well. 3 quick eliminations come in. Gonzaldino gets a double, eventually picked up by Divine King. So that lead they had is going to be thwarted here, down to 20 points. And of course, just as I say that, Migs just has to pick up an elimination. And you're wrong yet again here. Well, that's a shot that Remy's going to connect with here on the Migs and on the Gonzaldino, getting them both low on HP and takes down Gonzaldino. Is this guy ever going to miss a shot here? That's the 4th in a row. Lord Mono comes in, and with plays like that, I think Lazarus have a second chance. Because Lazarus pool and Resin second chance.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Pathology and all that. Well done. So, Gonzaldino will pick up the next frag. Migs will end up in a bit of a hot situation here, quite literally as he's burning down to very low HP, but still able to find impact before going down. As we see 2 more kills go up on the board for Noble. Not enough to take the lead away from Lazarus, though, who have recently cut ahead past Noble, but 324 to 309.
Explosion damage coming through. Excellence going to be dropped by Nokia, though. He says score difference only about, well, it was only about 40, but with Remy getting a quick triple, it takes it up to, oh, actually, it was around 70. With that 422, I mean, what, 78 points left to go here to close us out. 1:56 left. I think they're, unfortunately, are going to keep that streak alive of not letting it run out of time here, Blue. And I think we're going to be seeing this 3rd map.
Yep, Lazarus really cutting ahead here over the last minute or so and seemingly have that definitive advantage. So still kind of playing into what we expect between these two teams. Lazarus taking the penultimate advantage in any of the TDM modes, but Noble still having the overall advantage in most objective maps, which still leaves them, in my book anyway, with the advantage going on to map 3, which there we go, map 2 is now closed out. Lazarus taking control, 501 to 396, quite the definitive lead for them at the end of the day, especially when you consider that Noble actually had the lead at about the 200-point mark, and then it flipped back eventually into Lazarus's favor.
Romeo had 14 eliminations.
Did he really?
And he had 218 points. Next person under him, I think, was about 50 points off, or like 50, 60 points off. Like that was a big standout performance by him, to be honest. I wonder, I didn't get to catch it quickly enough. The assist for the rest of the team. I wonder if he was just cleaning up the elims, or if he was actually doing a ton of damage behind that. I'd love to see some like damage numbers again. I think I talked about this quite a bit of seeing like average damage per life would be really cool to see, like as a statistic. Because then you find like the really big standout players, the ones who are really putting in the work, because damage is super key, obviously, when it comes to an FPS. But they stay alive here, Blue, and that means we're going over to Europe Square. We're going over to some control, and we're going to see how this one's going to work out. I guess in your head, from what you've been explaining, Lazarus more about aim, and Noble more about brain.
Or strats. That's what, yeah, that falls into brain, so I don't know why I said that. I'm just going to move on from that. Go ahead. Next topic.
You said you were going to move on.
Oh, I meant both of us collectively.
I'm still stuck on this.
So, yeah.
So do you wear blue shirts on purpose?
Yeah, I do. I've started doing it more recently. I do have other shirts. I think I have I've been here for about 3 weeks now in our studio.
Yep. He literally lives in the studio, in the green room.
Yeah. There's a closet back there that I sleep in. No, not actually. But, yeah, I brought first.
Like human rights activists coming in here.
Just, yeah. I live in a hotel. But there were, I brought 4 dress shirts with me, and 3 to 4 of them are blue. So, 4th one's purple. So, also kind of blue.
I want to make this awkward now.
What?
4 dress shirts. You've had this show where you wear a dress shirt for 3 weeks now.
It's called laundry.
Okay. All right. All right. Okay. I was just wondering where we're going with that one, you know? I was going to say, you know, it does smell a little weird here in the studio, but that just must be me or the pulled pork burgers we had earlier on. Anyways, moving into our final map of the series, our first semifinal of the day. It's Noble up against Lazarus, and we're on Europe Square now. So some control added into the mix here. One of the few times we're actually seeing a third map in a semifinal.
Yeah, normally we actually barely get to go into. Oh, a bit of a snipe with the rocket there from Nokia, well placed. Says goodbye to Romeo. Trades are going to continue to go all over the place, but again, as we expect, it's Noble taking the lead at the start here.
Do you think that rocket was filled with poison?
What?
Because that's how Romeo died.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get it now. Sorry.
Was that too much of a stretch for me?
Yeah, that one went too far for my. A few people probably got that, but
more than I expected to be.
People in like 10th grade that are currently reading Romeo and Juliet.
Anyways, 297 to, all right, 301 to 281. We're going to see what A and B are currently being held here for the blue side of Lazarus, but blue's going to be actually maintained by Divine King, who came in at the last second to take down Gonzalo Dino. C is being tapped over as well here, so credit to Lazarus. They're having a pretty decent start here, but my question is now going to be how much can they maintain this over the pace of this map, because they're still relatively early on. They still have a lot of points left to go for both these two teams, and we know Noble can just turn the game around on a dime's head. Romeo
still trying to hold behind block post there, and it is going to work out to allow Lazarus to swing control away of the central point into Lazarus's favor, and they are actually doing a really fantastic job of flipping this around. About a minute ago, we saw Noble kind of over-focus on the central point, and that was when Lazarus was able to back-cap both the A and C points. Now, as you can see, A originally went back to Noble, but even that's being back-capped now. C is being taken away by Noble back into their control, but Lazarus still have a very iron grasp of the central point, and that's becoming the most important one here, with just the constant back-capping between the two teams of A and C.
Oh man, I'm actually surprised to see Lazarus have this big of a lead. 300 points and growing. What's going on in the camp of Noble here? Was it just the bad start that's really causing them some problems here? Divine King's another elimination. He's currently up to 7 with 8 assists. Doing God's work here, is now about 300 points away from closing out this map and closing out the series. More importantly here, Lazarus looking to get into the top 2 yet again here with Noble. I don't think they've actually been able, they've only done it once actually in Cup 4 where they did win against Knights, but they've not been able to do it as consistently as we'd expected them to after winning Gods of Boom. And I think Lazarus gets some revenge here, more importantly, after the event in Katowice.
Giorgio and the rest of Noble really just swarming into the B point. It is working out, actually. Look at this. They're going to start to turn things around. All 3 points nearly in their favor. In fact, all 3 points are definitively in their favor for at least a few seconds here. As they get the trip cap, they're still about 300 points, now about 200 points behind their opponents. But this is the start of a potentially amazing comeback if we could see this come to completion from Noble.
Still got over 200 points to go, though, and less than 100 for Lazarus. Yeah. A's being held on to. The thing is, nobody does not just stop dying. They need to stop being eliminated here to have a chance to claw this back. But I think it's just a little bit too late here, Blue. 50 points left going for Lazarus. And I think we'll be seeing them in the finals another time here after missing out last week. Not much Noble can do. They turned down the pressure a little bit too late. That trip cap could have been used well, about 30 seconds earlier, and they would have had a better chance. You can see their Divine King dancing away, dancing into the night, and dancing himself into the grand finals. 11 elims for excellence. I think 9 was the top on the side of Noble. I didn't get to catch who it was, though.
I missed it, so.
That's fine. We both missed it.
Yeah.
High five. Almost didn't high five either. Did you know when high-fiving, if you both stare at each other's elbow, you can't miss? Unless you intentionally try to miss.
What?
If we stare at each other's elbow and high-five, you can't miss.
Why would you stare at someone's elbow when you're high-fiving them?
Doesn't everyone? To, like, not miss? Isn't it awkward when you miss a high-five?
No, I, like, look in someone's eyes when I'm, like, talking with them or interacting with them.
So you look in someone's eyes when you're high-fiving them?
Yeah, I'm still interacting with that person.
That's your bad. Try it with anyone. Everyone at home, try it. Go say hi to someone and give them a high-five and look at each other's elbow.
See, I mean, I guess it works.
If you're not... that doesn't work, right? You're only looking at one elbow.
Yeah, but, like this is, like, my elbow. This would be, like, someone else's elbow in the example.
You're not high-fiving their elbow.
What? Yeah, I know. But you said to look at the elbow.
Yeah. But...
Didn't you?
Yes, but you can't do this because you can't look at both elbows.
Yeah, but I wouldn't look at my own elbow when I'm high-fiving you.
But you're both act as both people because you're using your hands.
No, I just didn't move this hand.
You know what? Okay, so Blue and I are going to discuss this off air. We're going to have to head to a break here. When we come back, we've got now Lazarus into the finals, and we got forZe up against DustTwo to determine who's the second team moving through. We'll see you guys in a few minutes. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Guns of Boom Season 2 Challenger Series Spring Season. We have our next, next match get underway
right?
here. Allergies, man, are a massive B.
It's like a violent cough. It just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's my voice sounds a lot deeper and raspier, which I actually kind of wish it stayed that way because it sounds more...
It could be more intense.
Yeah. So we got forZe up against DustTwo as our second match. We had Noble lose to Lazarus in their game in the upper side of the bracket. So they will unfortunately be dropping to a third, fourth place match, and Lazarus will be moving through into the finals. And now we're going to see who's the next team to join them here, especially when points are so important now in the later halves, the later portions here of our spring season. You need every point you could possibly get, especially for forZe, who's currently sitting in third place. They need to take down DustTwo here, and they will pretty much guarantee themselves, I think they will guarantee themselves back into second place.
Yeah, obviously as those teams are holding both the second and third place positions, this is essentially the battle to overtake the next player, or at least come very close to doing that. Yep. If DustTwo are able to close it out, though, it only furthers the divide between the two teams more than likely, meaning that they will be probably safe, considering that next week's results will probably be somewhat similar to that. We'll have to see how that ends up coming out to its conclusion. But really, this may end up being the last chance for forZe to bump DustTwo out. Of course, that's assuming that we don't see DustTwo get upset next week and get knocked out at an earlier stage of the bracket.
So ignore me for having my phone out really quickly, because Boy Scout tweeted to me actually earlier in the week, because we have Doran playing on DustTwo, and Doran has the most perfect aims out of anyone else at 160. The second closest person to him is KM at 116. Hale, who's on forZe, is in third at 99.
That's like a huge difference.
Yeah. And then you have Armace at 95, Jiren at 93. So you have Jiren from Unbreakable, Armace, who's, I'm trying to look at the assists. Yeah, he's like really far down in assists as well. He's really high up in deaths, but 160, like that's...
He's got good aim.
Yeah, that's what Boy Scout said. It's like hashtag aimbot, question mark? No, it's hashtag skills. What's his name? Doran. Well, it's Ember _ Doran.
Doran, wouldn't it be? With an O at the end.
We're both American. Let's...
Yeah, I would still say Doran.
Well, you're a massive Doran right now. As we're going to be hopping in, I think we're waiting on...
You could have made that like 10 times better. It's like, well, you're a boron. That's what you could have been. You could have made that better.
What?
Bore? Like boring? Like, all right, whatever. What?
What?
Doran, boron. Like,
I don't
no?
get it.
You don't get it?
No.
Boron, boring?
Like
you could have made fun of me?
Boron? Not the chemical, the...
No, like boring as in...
Molecule?
Are you... Do you not know what the definition of boring is?
I think I looked up the dictionary once, but it just came with a picture of your face. Hey, yo!
I'm not going to lie. They had us in the first half. All right, folks. So it looks like we're getting into our first map between these two teams. Let's get into it. It's King of the Hill as we expect to start off on, and we're going to be starting the match off in just about 10 seconds or so here.
I think I had you like the first 3 orders.
I'm not going to lie. I thought you were like actually just oblivious to what I said for like at least like 30 seconds of the conversation.
Why not? We can move
I was getting really
that.
worried that I would have had to like wiggle myself out of that one somehow. Like,
you looked a little tilted. Not gonna
yeah.
Oh, look at those, the Pro Series tags. Like the avatars, that's pretty sick. It's like animated and everything. Even the Gods of Boom ones don't have it.
I saw someone else in the lobby had one with like a little like flame on it that was animated too.
You mean Hale?
What's up?
Hales? Yeah, Hales.
Yeah, I did not see that for some reason, so sorry about that.
Is that who you meant?
Yes, that's exactly what I meant.
It's like, what game were you
I think he was dead when I looked at it, so it wasn't showing up, so it had the rip thing instead. But anyway.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
In the meantime, though, DustTwo do have control of the point in a few seconds. Well, if the spleen can survive, and he's able to do that. 158 points and counting now, as you see forZe try to push in. And Doran gonna fall there, unfortunately. As Pelok's able to get a nice triple, so actually able to keep the points relatively close, considering they haven't really had control in the last few seconds here.
Armenian coming up with the triple there as well. Great stuff from him. He gets the Blade Master on top.
That's Armace.
What's up?
76 points. Surgic's only at 14. Having a little bit of a struggle here. On the other side, 15 for Deadly, so I guess we have a couple players having a little bit of a struggle. But meantime, the spleen is at 84, Doran's at 91, really keeping things alive here.
Overall, a definitive lead at the moment for DustTwo. Haven't really been struggling with point control at all for a few minutes. In fact, they've got most of the teams set up for a defense, which you very rarely get this much downtime. It seems like forZe have almost completely reset themselves here, and now this is going to allow for DustTwo to get aggressive against them. Armenian Ace working his way forward, picks up at least one down. Stason will be able to find the trade against him, as he also tries to go for the the decap, but it's going to be interrupted by Surgic, who wraps around the other side and preserves the hold for DustTwo.
Well, preserving the hold and preserving that lead at the moment. 505 to 281. As they're able to get 300 on the board, but still down by 200 points here. forZe is really seeming to be out of their grasp at the moment. DustTwo has really started to step up here. And the thing is, DustTwo has done decently well over the course of this entire season. Currently sitting in second place at 275 points. They've gotten second place in the first cup, third place in Cup 3 and 4, and got first place in Cup 5. So they've been able to bat out on the top echelons of what we have here in Europe. But can they maintain that today? Because they're going to need it to maintain that second place lead.
forZe are slowly starting to fight back a bit here now, as they managed to close the gap. But unfortunately, the problem is DustTwo has once again gotten great control over the capture point, and as such, they're starting to shoot back into their favor once again. The gap is widening. So see it's Spleen along with Armace moving forward to be able to pick up the down. Again, Stason taking him out of the fight. And we're all just, again, kind of getting these guys in a bit of a spawn box right now. DustTwo, though, with that control, is able to force the issue against forZe and spread away. A bit of a mess up there from Stacy, but no big deal. He's able to back away from it, doesn't end up taking a whole lot of damage. Now he can push back and just waste the nade, unfortunately. Oh! Goran, though, is going to be able to take him down nice and close and personal. As he knocks out Deadly, gets the Blade Master on top of that. Pelox starting to push his way in. Not long before he's going to find himself traded, though, against Surgic, who's holding on the porch here by the central point. And yeah, forZe just can't seem to break this defense that's set up on the point. They've only actually had control of it, after the initial scramble between the teams, only one time this entire game.
Also a communication too between and Ace and Doran there as well, because you saw Doran taking some shots. Ace comes in from the side to help him out, does get the trade, which helps keep this lead, and will now put them just a couple of points away from taking map 1. Doran at 12 eliminations. He actually had the most deaths at 10, which is quite surprising because he's sitting back and sniping quite a bit.
Yeah, but still, we see a very definitive win coming out from DustTwo there, which leads us to believe, again, that they'll be able to hold that. We'll have to see, of course, if this is going to be a similar situation we had in our last matchup, where one team tends to favor a little bit more of an advantage on the objective maps, and then we see the TDM matches swing in the other direction, or if they will be able to get a quick closeout in 2-0 fashion that, unfortunately, we normally end up getting here in these semifinals.
I'm going to call it 2-0.
Are you?
I'm going to call it.
Yeah.
I feel like Doran
I'll go with you on that.
is a big master player when it comes to TDM, just because of the snipe shots he hits and how he plays. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I mentioned he had he had so many deaths. I didn't really expect him to have that many because he likes to sit back and snipe quite a bit, but he must have been playing a little bit more aggressive. Or maybe forZe's idea of breaking their hold was just to kind of flank in the backside and take him down so they could alleviate the pressure of the damage he's doing with the sniper shots.
Maybe there was a focus on just trying to knock him out every time they pushed in because of how effective he was. They could have been trying to hyper-focus on taking him down, and that could explain the extra deaths if he was sitting back and playing more passively.
It's true. It's true. We're actually about to hop into our second map. Seems like players are ready to go today and ready to kick things off in Guns of Boom with their week delay from last week. We're going to hop into... oh, excuse me. I wasn't laughing. I don't know that we're making it. Commentator's curse, of course.
Always unfortunate. As yeah, a little bit of an issue getting that started, so we just have to go back to the lobby real quick, figure out what the problem was, and then restart things.
I was trying to think of another pun for Doran, but I just didn't have one. Hit me with your best one.
I mean, there's a pretty obvious one.
Snoron?
No, moron.
Whoa.
To be fair, I just thought of that, but...
You know what? That was a...
I'm not talking about him,
okay.
but...
That was an okay one.
Yeah.
Want to give me an okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an okay one. God. So anyways, we're remaking it really quickly, and we're about to hop back in. I think the player's just going to ready up right now. We'll be should be good to go. Of course, we still have North America to come up next after this entirety of Europe does get wrapped up. Currently, we have in NA, Impact in first place by 100 points. Enix in second at 350. Only Nation in third at 290. How many points does Impact have? Nope, don't look at your screen.
I already looked at it. You have to say that beforehand.
They said Impact has 100 points more than second place Enix, and then I said Enix at 350.
Oh, well, then they're 450.
Now who's the Doran? Sorry. Only Nation currently in third place at 290. No Name in fourth at 195. So it's pretty much clear cut that Impact should be getting through as a first seed. Which, if you think about how the Pro Series worked out last time when we were in Texas, it means you get through into the semis. So you double your prize money, and you have to play one less match in total.
Yep. So this is going to be good for DustTwo if they can cut their way through this next matchup here, as it will basically guarantee their position in Brazil, assuming, of course, there's no crazy upset next week with them not getting knocked out relatively early in the matchup. Or early in the bracket, I should say, and potentially allowing for forZe to make up the difference. But with a cut through here, and at least an additional +1 place, potentially +2 if they can take out Lazarus in the finals. That's going to definitely secure their point total going into next week, which I believe next week is the final, the cup for the season, and that is where we would see things close off, and obviously we would have the qualified teams.
I'm trying to think if DustTwo do win and beat Lazarus, it'll be a 25-point difference between them and Lazarus. Because it's 175. So if they actually can beat them somehow in the following week, they could take away first seed.
Could they really?
They could come out of like left field completely, where forZe and Lazarus were like the #1, #2 team, and we're ahead by 75 points to actually being the first out of the entire group of Europe. But that just shows like how competitive Europe really is. But anyways, back into the game. forZe up against DustTwo, and forZe already had a massive lead.
Yeah, and it's going to continue to grow, actually, quite definitively. Almost, actually, a little under double the point totals of what DustTwo has right now. But again, it's TDM. As you guys have already seen, this can change up very, very quickly within the course of a few seconds. If someone gets a nice flank or a player or two ends up in bad positioning, a flank isn't covered. This is where DustTwo would probably have to come back from, as forZe are continuing to rack up the frags right now.
And you can see it seems like DustTwo are playing really passive here. They're really sitting far back. Ace able to finally open things up onto Deadly. That's still a really big difference considering we're only a minute into this round now. Big push coming out of forZe. I feel like if you see forZe group up, it's really hard for DustTwo to do work. At least Doran's case, because I feel like he likes to pick off players who try to go out by themselves and try to look for the aim battles. He's got the most perfect aims by far out of anyone else. So challenging him to 1v1 is not going to be smart. And I think that's maybe forZe's plan to actually just take him out of the fight,
Yeah.
Don't give him any of those battles.
We are going to be seeing Stacent try to hold this flanked angle and prevent DustTwo from pushing forward. So far, that's working out pretty well with the shotgun hold on the close corner here. So that's that. A lot of hold back. Doran with another nice shot. Really knocks off the HP for Hale. Armenian's going to be the one to actually finish him. Hale will immediately get revenge against the Spleen, but Armenian continuing to pick up kills with the Thanatos. That's 2 in a row from him.
I thought we're not doing any spoilers. I actually saw this great thing on Reddit today for this. The substitute teacher came in. Every time the class was caught talking, he would start to write one letter for a spoiler.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he got to Thano, and that was it, and then they stopped. 207 to 172 at the moment. So DustTwo has been able to actually close the gap. I think most shots off the back of Armenian Ace at 65 points. Doran at 21 is really struggling so far in this match. And I don't want to call him out in particular, but I mean, again, he's always been like a standout player here for DustTwo, and Armace is generally the one who gets the MVPs, but having a staple player like Doran who's just playing consistently make things even more difficult for the enemy team to obviously pick up the victories. But they were 30 points away until Deadly got a streak.
Makes sense as well that the Thanatos is like the gun that sounds like that as well, because it's only got one bullet, and then it's like kind of like the one-shot gun almost, It's like the snap gun, you could say.
But what does that have to do with what?
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 Because it's called the Thanatos.
What's up?
It's the Thanatos, and it's the weapon that can one-shot people.
Yeah, but...
Or at least come close to one-shotting them.
Okay. Sure, I'll let you have this one.
We've got DustTwo.
I'm not going to argue with you for this.
The DustTwo, in the meanwhile, is about to have the lead away from forZe as they've made a decent comeback here. forZe, though, is still fighting for control of the advantage. About 30 points in their favor, but some good positioning and a few frags going into their advantage. DustTwo can swing this back, especially with shots like that coming out from Doran.
He's been eating his Wheaties today. Now you see the pace has slowed down so much, and with that elimination coming through, that's going to be DustTwo taking the lead with a minute and 30 left to go. Look at this. Just again, Armenian Ace constantly hitting these shots. And finally.
So many sniping kills coming out here today.
Yeah, that double elimination at Pelox gets them very far ahead, almost 60 points now. It's all that fighting that DustTwo's been doing. Don't know how much it's going to work out for them here. Spleen's got to be careful. They cannot afford to lose too many more players. You have a second fight. He's going to lose out up against Hale here. 60-point difference. But only 20 points left to go here for forZe to close this out.
It's looking likely that forZe would be able to close the gap. However, DustTwo's not going to give up without a fight. Doran trying to heal through that dot. We'll see if he ends up going down to it. Looks like he survived, so keeps himself in the fray for a little bit longer. Now, obviously, with it at 480, no one from DustTwo is going to peek into the open here. No one's going to take a risk, but probably the same situation for forZe, considering that if it just goes to timer, they're going to win anyway. Armenian Ace does commit himself to the push, but we've got most of forZe sat back in their spawn, trying to run the timer down. Armenian Ace gets one. It's going to be very close, though, as Pelox finds the trade. 1 or 2 more kills could do it for either team here. But again, forZe knows they can play it on the timer. They won't need to, though, as they get that final frag up on the board. 5-11 to 473 is the final score of the matchup there, tying us up now 1-1 and sending us again to a third map here in our semifinals. It's a little bit more even this week. We've got a lot of third mappers.
Yeah, we've got a long show today. As it is, we're giving a longer show if we can continue to go the full maps throughout the entire day today. I probably just cursed it, so it's probably happening, Blue. I hope you love me.
Isn't it usually the other way, though? You say something like the other thing happens? The caster curse?
Yeah, but unless it's... Yeah. But well, we've already had 3 mappers.
Every single match from this point forward is going to be like just a 3-0 or a 2-0. You can think.
Now you just cursed it.
Well, no, because I'm in response to what you've said. So it's when you're talking about the curse is off. Is the way the rules work.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
We'll see.
All right.
We'll test that. You know?
We will.
Because now each one of us has said something different. So.
Yep. Exactly.
Okay, I'll take a look at the weapons here and see how the stats ended up lining up. I don't think we saw anything too out of the ordinary besides the amount of Thanatos play that we were getting in that last matchup, on top of the Barracuda usage. Just in general, a whole lot of sniper kills coming out of that matchup. So made for a pretty slow game, to be completely honest, but also a very clutch game as players are picking up kills all over the place. Same thing as well with the Incinerator being pretty prevalent as the assault rifle choice, just due to the fact that everybody's a lot more passive in TDM because kills are the only way to earn points. It's always better to kind of just throw the dots on people to keep them at lower HPs, even if they successfully disengage.
More dots. More dots is always a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Might lose some DKP if you don't get dots up. Is that a thing?
I honestly forget. I was
really hoping you'd answer because I was going to call you nerd again. I'm really kind of disappointing you. You can see, again, the shotgun's pretty much equal between both sides, but it's all about the sniping. I mean, it seemed like once forZe realized Armenian Ace and Dorn were like heavily sniping, they just like stopped getting the angles. Like, all right, you guys are destroying us when it comes to this. We're gonna give you your shots. We're actually just not gonna go that direction anymore and force you to come back to us to force a fight. So I think it's a smart play. It's like a quick adaptation, which I like to see out of teams. But forZe does tie things up, and now we go to that third and final map here of Europe Square.
Let's get into it, folks. forZe or DustTwo moving on into the finals to face off against Lazarus, with the loser heading down into the third place match to face off against Noble, who's made it this far for the first time in a while. DustTwo, though, 3 kills consecutively to start off the matchup, really wiping everyone from forZe off the board and giving them a lot of control of this map. DustTwo with an incredibly aggressive strategy as well, sending all 4 players right to the central point, ignoring their home point, which is going to allow it to go under the cap of forZe, but at the same time, DustTwo is able to roll back, take C, and they'll still hold a solid 2. The problem is that the pressure on respawn works its way back over to B. Oh, they come very close to the decap, and they do actually. DustTwo with one other player getting thrown onto it. They are able to delay it for a moment, might even be able to steal it away. There's the decap coming in now to make it neutral once again, as the Spleen will be jumping onto it, and he'll complete it. Keeps it ticking into the favor of DustTwo, but it's not over just yet.
You know what I really want to see, Blue? I really want to see a strategy where teams group up as 4 and just push around the map at the same direction every time.
Death ball, basically?
Yeah. Because the worst case, they back cap you every time, right? Or because then you just switch the direction. You just go, instead of going clockwise, you go counterclockwise.
Every time you get back up, you just turn it around, basically.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, let's run into them.
I'm actually really curious to see how that works. I mean, it's probably been tested, and I'm probably just being an idiot right now.
I feel like it's very easy to like outmaneuver the death ball with just proper communication, which we would assume all these teams have, and that's like the ultimate crux of it.
Well, you'd hope, yeah. You'd hope there would be proper communication. I've definitely seen some maps. I think it was over the North American. Wait, no, that was a different game last week. Anyways, 450 to 500. DustTwo have the lead. They have a trip cap, at least for quick moments of time here. forZe is going to quickly retreat back towards C and take that back in their hands. And look at this. We do have 2 players pushing back out towards C. They don't want to let this trip cap go. And right now, I mean, the majority of the players of the forZe are here over towards C. So even if they lose the fight, DustTwo, they're still winning the war because they have the other points held and they have a lot of points taken up.
This is going to allow for DustTwo to continue to maintain an advantage, but forZe are constantly looking for ways to spin this back around. A quick cap onto C with the majority of players jumping onto it. All 4 also jumping onto the central point at B here. It's not necessarily a successful win. It does start to go into their favor. Problem is respawns are going to be routing out here in just a second from DustTwo, and they can very quickly try to take this back into their favor.
Spleen just going to rush through here with the shotgun out. Takes down 1, but he can't take down Stason, but Surgic's going to be there, and Surgic's able to get the first elimination, almost able to get the second here on a Deadly. The Deadly will survive for now, as well as Hale. and they will be able to maintain control of that point. So nothing's going to be turned around as forZe is going to be the one to take the lead here just by a couple of points, but able to do so nonetheless. Currently surging at 197 points. A ridiculous game out of him so far.
We are going to be seeing again just really a brawl for the central point as both teams control A and C almost statically. There hasn't been any back cap attempts recently, and look at how close it is because it's such a seesaw affair at B point right now. 995 to 990. Things will probably slowly shift, and yep, especially with the cap going in their favor right there. DustTwo get a slight bump in points. They take the lead. This is going to come down to the wire here with not a lot of back caps happening.
Yeah, but there's a 100-point lead for DustTwo, and they're continuing to push further. They only need about 50 more points to close this out. Time is not going to be a factor here. Stacen's going to need to push in eventually here. They can't afford to let the time go on any longer because it's still going to be 2-1 in favor of DustTwo, and that's going to be them closing it out and getting themselves through to another final here. Well done by them, and they also, more importantly, they've overtaken forZe. No. Yes. No. Well, they're lengthening their lead against forZe.
They opened the divide a little bit more.
Exactly.
So
what I was going to say.
More than guarantee, or nearly, I should say, guarantees them a top 2 spot finish now. Assuming that next week is going to be the close-off point for them. The only thing that would really send it in the other direction at this point would be if DustTwo gets upset like really early on in the bracket and knocks them out. As long as they can maintain somewhat of a relevant finish to what they've had in the past, make it to probably at least the semifinals, even a quarterfinal finish might be enough for them at this point. They're probably going to be safe to maintain a top 2 position going into the qualification stage for the Brazil Pro League event.
Yeah, big event. I mean, you get flown halfway across the world. All expenses paid, meaning flights and hotel. I think even part of the food, because there's obviously catering there at the event. Nice little experience for you. You know, take a loved one, save on a vacation, get to win some money as well.
Brazil's got good food, too.
Brazilian barbecue, caipirinhas, if you're old enough.
What else?
Guarana.
Yeah, that's soda. Ooh. You can get that in Europe pretty easily, too, though. So
only at your market that you used. Yeah. I've not been able to find it at mine ever since that one time I saw it.
You can get it on like Amazon in the States.
I am not going to order everything from Amazon. You know, that's not me. I like to, go out and do things.
Obviously, a pretty big change up in the rifle usage there for the teams as well, considering the amount of Thanatos and Barracudas we had in the previous map. All of it gets moved away just because of the amount of mobility that's really needed to play on those capture point maps. So we see a lot of teams just switching back over to the Scouts so that they could try to back up. That was the thing, though. That really became the problem, unfortunately, for forZe, was both teams kind of hard focused on the central point and stopped any attempts to back cap. And ultimately, DustTwo just won that fight in middle, and since we saw forZe get pushed off, it was happening around the 900 to 1,000 point mark. So after they lost that fight and then switched to trying to go for back caps again, they just didn't have enough time to complete it, as at that point DustTwo right into it, denied the back cap attempts, and basically won it on timer.
Okay, well, great little recap from Blue there. In the meantime, we're going to head to it right before we get underway with our next match. Going to be Noble up against forZe. They're not going to want to miss this one, I think. Welcome back to the potentially spoiler-free Guns of Boom at Season 2 Challenger Series. We're getting underway with our spring season. I say get underway. We're pretty much done here with the spring season. We got, what, basically one more cup left? Is it confirmed one more cup?
We haven't like actually looked it up yet.
It was 8 in winter.
So yeah, it's probably next week is the final cup.
Not a lot of cups left. Let's just say that.
Meaning, not a lot of time left to qualify for the Brazilian Pro League, or I keep using Pro League with Pro Series, my bad. Pro Series events. Like we said before, we pretty much have our two teams, at least for Europe, locked down now after that last matchup, because DustTwo has now kind of like widened the divide they have in points between them and forZe by taking them out. So unless there's like a huge mistake made by DustTwo in the next week and they get knocked out, they should be the team in second place.
Hey, Blue. So, Pro what?
Pro Series.
Okay. Okay.
Pro.
We're here right now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Cool. Cool.
What's that?
Okay, so we're getting right with our third, fourth place match. Noble, a team we haven't really been. I mean, we've been talking about them, but more
barely seen them
in a negative sense than positive sense. Because we've barely seen them, we've barely been able to see them, have any sort of dominance as we expected off the back of the Gods of Boom Invitational we had back in Katowice, back here in Katowice,
just down the road.
2 months ago, a month ago, I don't know. Are we allowed to say we're in Katowice right now? Or are we supposed to give an illusion that we're in some other country?
No, I think we're in Katowice.
Yeah, we're here. We're here in Poland.
Studios, in fact.
We are. So we're moving to best of fives now. Farming Complex, Military Complex, Wild West Saloon, Skyscrapers Atrium. We are 5 maps, 5 fingers, 5 maps. But if we're...
What do your fingers have to do?
Because I have 5 fingers and there's 5 maps.
I guess. You just said like 5 maps that you did.
What if I actually had 6 fingers?
Well, then that would be different.
4.
That would be different then, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't you feel like a jerk then?
I mean, I feel like I would have known that in advance if that was the case.
It's true. I just could be really good at camouflaging it.
Just a prosthetic finger or something like that. Or you had one cut off.
Oof. Would you do that?
What if you had
if you had a 6 finger?
No, that'd be like a cool story. Like, well, it's not really stories. Like,
would you rather have like 2 thumbs or like 2 pinkies?
2 thumbs, definitely.
But the thumb bends the same way and is on the same side of your hand.
Yeah, it's still 2 thumbs. Nah. It's like better grip,
Nah.
No?
I'll take whatever.
If I had like a thumb in the place of my pinky, I would totally want that. That would bend the opposite way though. Like so you could like
bends backwards?
No, like
so it's turned?
No, it like bends in the same way, but it bends to the right instead of the left on your right hand. You know what I'm saying? Just never mind. We're in the game. It's back to the farmhouse now between forZe and Noble, our 3rd place match for today.
What have you been doing on your time off here? I want to do some of that.
Nothing.
Some partying? I don't know what's going on here. Okay.
I've been practicing my Guns of Boom skills. That's not today.
In the closet, right? Like around the corner here in the studio.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens.
That's where my sleeping bag is.
A sleeping bag?
Yeah.
Lucky they just gave me like a a sheet. We're like, sleep on this.
Well, it's looking like to start things off, forZe is actually bouncing back a little bit here after Noble got off to a slight advantage. However, it's not staying that way. Noble is actually about to trip cap here in a second if the guys from forZe aren't careful. Migs will end up in a duel versus Deadly, but Deadly will not have a chance. Unfortunately, he's going to end up in 2vx. Now, forZe seemingly might be able to take back C. Ooh, Stason just barely surviving that fight, and he's got more opponents coming in, but they do actually no, he has to peel off the point, so he can't even complete the cap. Giorgio, along with the rest of Noble, are doing a fantastic job of setting sending pressure over in this direction. They've got to be careful, though. They almost lost B a moment ago there, but they were able to reassert control. So Noble, great overall map control against forZe here. They're keeping them guessing about where the pressure is going to come from and are nearly keeping a trip cap at very minimum, denying forZe even having a single cap as a result of this. There we go. There's the trip cap.
What's going on here for Noble? Like, what happened from their last match to this one? They're playing like a completely different team. This lead they have is massive and probably can continue to grow here. A's finally going to be turned over. Well, I say that. Still an epic battle for it, and actually A's going to be maintained here.
It's forZe getting so close to capping, but they literally haven't had a point in like at least a minute or two now. forZe have been completely denied. Have only been able to get points from kills. So this has been rough for forZe. And Noble's just going to continue to shoot ahead because of this, and this doesn't change soon. I think finally they're going to get a cap at C. But like I said, that's the first one they've had in at least 2 minutes now.
Look at this lead, though. I mean, we're basically at 400. Oh, I'm supposed to say 500 points because I'm too lazy to count this one exactly. And they're almost done. I mean, I think they could actually lose every point right now and just finish this off eliminations alone. 170 left to go. Nokia's still getting the limbs. He's currently at 7, now 8 and 5. 5 being assists, not his deaths. Hale, I mean, is 7 and 5. So he's not having a bad game. The problem is that trip cap just stuck for such a long time. And there's so many other players on his team who just are not picking up these limbs that they need. But finally, they get a full squad wipe here. But the question now comes, will they have enough here left in the gas to somehow pull this back? And I want to say definitely no.
Noble already less than 20 points away from closing this out. Now they can literally just sit on the 1 point they have, and they will be closing it out with no issue whatsoever. 12:03 to 6:99, a definitive finish for Noble as they take solid control of map number 1. And one of the players moving ahead with 258 points. Nokia.
This is as durable as the phones.
Showstopper.
Yeah?
Yeah. That was a good joke you made, too.
I had nothing else. I couldn't think of anything funny.
Yeah. We had to use that one eventually, didn't we? Because his name is Nokia.
I had a Nokia phone. Do you have a Nokia phone?
I honestly wouldn't remember. I didn't even get a phone until like flip phones were a thing. So I don't think I got a phone until I was like 11 or 12. Because that was like
5 years ago? 6?
Because that was back when like parents like wouldn't give you phones until you were like, you know, old enough to like be somewhat responsible.
I was 9th grade. I was a freshman in high school. No, I was, yes.
Oh, you got one later than me then.
I was a sophomore in high school.
You got one later than me then.
Yeah.
Because I got a cell phone, I think, like in middle school, somewhere around there. It was my first cell phone. I mean, like, you've seen it. Like,
I had no games on my phone, though. I'm really sad. It was a Nokia, though.
Yeah.
I handpicked it out. I did all the color schemes as well. And by color schemes, I mean you change the wallpaper to look all cool. Then I eventually got a Sidekick.
You didn't have like Tetris on it at least?
No.
No?
I think it had some like ghetto version of Snake. I don't even know.
I think I had both. I had both because I got like the first cell phone my dad had. That was like I got like a hand me down. That was my first cell phone, and it was like this like I think it was a flip phone from like the early 2000s. No, I never had a Sidekick.
Sidekicks were the best.
I never had like one of those like non-smart, but like basically were the smartphones at the time. I never had one of those until like smartphones were a thing. And then I got a smartphone like super early though, because I saved up my money for it because I thought they were like the coolest thing ever.
Such a nerd.
So I got like one of the first Androids. It was actually like terrible. It was the HTC Aris. It was awful.
Whoa. Check our sponsors real quick. All right, so
to be fair, that was like 10 years ago at this point.
That's true.
They've much improved since then.
I think my first Android was the Droid.
Oh, so that was like one of the first.
It turns it on, it goes Droid.
Yeah.
That was like my text sound for a while. Anyways, back into our match here. It's a best of 5 for a 3rd, 4th place game. Noble currently in the lead at 1-0. And I'm moving into our second map here of Military Complex. And so far, Noble, well, they have a lead. Not a big lead, but a lead nonetheless. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're able to shoot this lead up like we saw previously. But the problem is TDM is where they really struggled on Old Factory up against Lazarus. So potentially we're going to have a 1-1 scoreline here.
Stason having to push back. Migs, unfortunately, they're going to throw too much aggression at him too quickly, so we are going to see him go down. It's Nokia that ends up getting the credit for it, though, because the burn dot kills him, not the damage from the shotgun. Deadly, in the meanwhile, wrapped back around. Migs and Gonzaldino all picking up kills. Gonzaldino already going on a streak here, by the way, as he finds another one with a quick switch over to the shotgun. And it's Noble again, just cutting ahead, not giving forZe any opportunity at all to score here.
See, commentator's curse, but I'm using it in Noble's favor, I guess, because they paid me off. 165 to 96. Currently Hale with 1 elimination, only 15 points though. Nokia has seemed to have cooled down a little bit, at least in the first minute and 20 seconds of our match here, where Giorgio's the one at 51 points and Gonzaldino at 73. So we have our 2 big standout players here for the side of Noble. That point lead we did have has been completely eliminated now. There's sub 20, of course, sub 20 points as it does grow with Noble getting that elimination. But Noble have that potential to be super explosive, and again, they do it another time.
Really cutting ahead as a result of that. Even this early on, to have nearly a 100-point lead over your opponent is a massive feat. And Noble have got it seemingly without struggling at all here. forZe really have to bound together and hope that they can bring this back into their favor. Otherwise, it's going to be Noble cutting ahead very early on here and potentially looking at a quick victory in this second map.
Sorry, I didn't catch what you said about forZe.
Bound together.
Oh, okay.
That's what I meant to say.
It's a little bit hard to play like that.
I guess bind together would have worked too, but my brain got confused for a second.
It happens. It happens. You've had some. You had some long days here in Poland for some other shows. You've only had like a couple days off a week, maybe like 1 day off at a time. We're working hard here, just like Noble's working hard to maintain this lead. Albeit 52 points, but still maintaining most importantly. And again, I think that's an important part. It's not about like the point lead you have, it's about the ability to maintain the lead throughout the course of the match. Because that means you're returning frags and you're trading frags properly, you're sticking together, you're communicating well. Your lead doesn't have to necessarily grow as long as you're able to maintain it.
I mean, this is a great example of a pretty excellent comeback from forZe. They slowed down the play a little bit. Noble didn't, so they ended up running into a few stacks that forZe had set up, and as a result of that, we've been seeing forZe actually battle back quite confidently. Noble have actually kind of come to a standstill all of a sudden here. Are starting to turn it back around now as Gonzaldino picks the first kill they've gotten in a while. Gonzaldino really being the hero, it seems, in this match, picking up multi-kills all over the place, but he is finally going to meet his end to Deadly, who catches him trying to run to the inside of one of the central buildings. Migs will find another one, though, and it does seem like Noble may have a lead that's impossible to come back from, but we'll see. They're very close to that 500-point win mark. forZe seemingly right behind them, 420 points. Might have spoken too soon.
All you need is that one streak, right? That one quick streak. Ooh, nice little double here to Giorgio. 20 points now, 8 points left to go. Noki comes through, and Giorgio gets the third, and there was definitely a chance here for forZe to come back, but unfortunately, Gonzaldino said, hell no, we won't go to a 1-1 scoreline. We're going to go to 2-0.
Giorgio pulls off that fantastic play right there, which is the rush.
Call Papa.
Papa Giorgio makes the nice play there with the flank and gets a quick triple elimination in order to end the map right there and keep his team in an advantageous situation now at 2-0. One more map in their favor, and they've got the series along with the points and prizing that comes with the third place finish. And that, of course, will take us into our final a little bit after this.
Look at Nokia in chat after they came back after winning. He's like, ZZZ. It's too easy. He's falling asleep.
Confident. Give him that.
He's confident, but I'll tell you what right now, Nokia, I don't think you guys are getting to Brazil. Even if you, I don't think there's any sort of chance you can, because you're in the third, fourth place. If you beat forZe, you actually, this is an important match for DustTwo, because if forZe lose, then there's almost no chance DustTwo will drop out of second place.
Yeah, pretty much, because it lowers their point totals they're getting for this week even further. Once again, opens up the divide even further than we would have seen if they'd finished third. So
just Noble's like, all right, forZe, how much you love us.
If we can't go, no one
can. Go, you can't go. Take that.
It's always, we see that happen in a lot of other leagues and a lot of other games too, where like a team's given like an opportunity to just like crush someone else's dreams, and we're sitting right in front of those one of those situations right now.
Yeah, and sometimes that riles the team up more than just money.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, we're not going, so we're gonna not let you either. I like that.
So again, same overall weapon trends here between the matchups. Team sticking generally with the scouts for the objective-focused maps, and maybe, one or two snipers come into the play there. But then we see the scouts phase out, and a lot more actual snipers coming into the play, a lot more Barracuda and Thanatos pickups as we get into the TDM matchups, as obviously mobility is nowhere near as important in the TDM maps compared to the King of the Hill and Capture Point maps.
You know where we're going next, Blue?
Where are we going next?
Wild, Wild West.
Sheriff of the Hill?
Yeah. You got it. Hey, you remember it.
Yeah, I remembered it this time. I got it confused because I had my own. Remember, I had my own version of it that we didn't like. Sheriff of the Prospect, and then we.
It's pretty garbage. I'm not gonna lie.
I think it's great personally, but he doesn't. So.
So does that mean
he's the leader of the broadcast here?
Is it? Am I? You can be the leader.
I mean, you're the one who talks first when we come back from breaks.
You can be the leader now.
So. No, I'm not good at that.
Too bad. Now we're both all going to be quiet until one of us talks.
Well, I'll talk first. Yes. We got to give the folks a show, don't we? As we get into the fight, though, it's going to be close battle for control of the central point. As we're back on a King of the Hill map, it's looking like forZe will actually take it away from Noble. And really, for the first time out of all three of these maps, forZe are superiorly cutting ahead of Noble here. Over double double the point total. Noble almost triple their point total here in the first 30 seconds.
That was a nice little flank route action of Noble. We typically see teams go on the high ground at the saloon or just rush straight towards point. They went the long way around and caught them off guard, which allowed them to have some sort of chance to get back on towards the point. The problem was, they unfortunately just got exploded on and didn't have the men left alive here to fight. Gonzaldino does get one, but it's still going pretty much all blue here. At this rate, it might continue to do so. I think Noble might need to regroup up and do that same kind of strategy, except play it maybe a little bit slower. And yeah, Pellock should...
Oh, no.
Oh my gosh, that damage he just did.
That is a massive amount of damage, catching them coming right out of spawn as well. So this is a really good opportunity for forZe to just crush Noble. Get some revenge for the last two matches. Because, I mean, look at this. Noble have been sitting at like 158 for the longest time. Finally, Migs will get another pickup here against Deadly to be able to throw back into their favor. Gonzalino does the same. A conjoined push from these guys. They are able to work their way back out. But even if they take this point away right now, they've got a long way to crawl back.
The thing is, they've forced forZe to use a lot of their RPGs already, so they're not going to have them up for the big explosive damage anymore for a while, which gives them the opportunity to like group up a little bit more and not be afraid of taking a ton of AoE damage. The thing is, Hale comes in with a nice double. Georgia's going to be playing far back, does get the elimination on a Stason, but eventually burns up as Deadly gets the finisher there. Now Gonzaldino looking to drop it. It's going to be 1v3, and yeah, you're not going to win those. Doesn't matter how good you are.
Point A capture.
Sounds like we do see Point A go back under the control of forZe as they're going to start to shoot back ahead. Giorgio picking up one in the zone. Nokia going to dive in, starts to get the decap. Is anyone going to be able to interrupt it? No. Decap is complete, and he starts to throw it back into his team's favor. Hale will attempt to reverse it, but here come the respawns from Noble, where they'll be able to solidify it, get the cap, and slowly, very slowly start to close this divide. It's a lot more even kill now. The points and the advantage for forZe has remained a lot more consistent. Noble, though, haven't made a whole lot of progress in closing the actual gap just yet. That's what they need to focus on, especially as forZe is a little over halfway through the game at this point.
Oh, I think Hale's lagging a little bit right there. You saw the awkwardness of his shots, which has allowed them to actually almost get this point back. You see the rushing coming out of Stason, looking for the Gonzaldino. He's going to drop him, but he's going to fall quickly there after Migs gets himself a double. And there's a good chance that Noble can come back and win this now. They have the point. They're pushed up aggressively. They got a big triple here for Migs, and look at that. Almost 100-point difference between the two teams now.
Migs trying to lock them in as we do see Hale. A little bit of teleport there from him as he works his way out. Deadly and Hale will be able to pick up the 2 frags combined, but the rest of the team still holding back slightly. As we do see Noble, at least for now, holding on to control the point, but they are going to lose it. So another player from forZe is able to move on. It's not like it may stay that way for long, but Noble already working on the recap, and they get it.
Perfect storm of Deadly Hale. Which is a thing in Colorado, at least. I know that.
Yeah. It's actually been like forever since I've seen it.
Oh, Hale. A little rough there. Thing is, that gap that we had with forZe being in a massive lead has dwindled down to sub 10 points, to sub 1 point, and actually should be going Noble's way here in a few seconds. They're looking to maintain control of this control point. There's a chance they're actually going to do this here. 100 points left to go.
Hale trying to work his way up to the top balcony here and hope that it reverses it, but it's just a trade back and forth. Giorgio working forward here too, is going to try to take out Stason, finds a trade on that. Team's just constantly going back and forth. Giorgio with a dive downstairs, and the final frag seals the deal, however, for Noble. A perfect 3-0 finish for them, and an amazing comeback here on the third and final map in order to close out the series and claim 3rd place for the week.
I loved your excitement. You're just like, you went in for it. You went in for the clap. I can
my trademark. I'm very emotive, I try my best.
What's your favorite emoji?
Probably the upside down smiley face one.
Okay.
Out of the thinking face. That's everyone's favorite.
Yeah, thinking's good.
Yeah.
I'll show you when we get into a break here of the emoji. I didn't realize what it was. I thought it was never mind. Anyways, I thought it was a cooking hat. You can try to figure out what emoji that was now. So we have Noble taking a victory and pretty much making forZe's job even harder next week to get into Brazil. I know whoever's on admin right now, if you can show me the standings really quickly on your little notepad, because I want to see where forZe is. Thank you very much. So Noble goes up to 250. forZe is at 305. DustTwo is at a minimum of 350 points. It's a 45-point difference. That means forZe has to have a stupendous victory next week and almost pretty much have to beat DustTwo early on or hope someone does.
Yeah, so forZe basically have to win, and then they, like we said before, I mean, we talked about this plenty of times too, they have to hope that someone upsets DustTwo, preferably before the semis. I think semis would be like the safe point for DustTwo. If they make it to there, they probably don't really have to worry about their opponents overtaking them, even if they end up winning.
So it all comes down to seeding. It comes down to who's been performing how over the course of the season. And I'm getting a little bit worried for forZe because they were already there in Texas, and they were not happy with the performance they put up. They wanted to be there on the finals. They want to take home the trophy and the money. And unfortunately, their story might be coming to a close where they've already been maintaining such a good performance over the course of the season. I mean, yeah, they've had a couple of iffy results here and there, but it's forZe. I'm surprised to not see them qualify if they can't pull it together next week.
Yeah, will certainly be a surprise. And again, seeing teams like Noble getting dropped out relatively early on here too. Once again, maybe managing to make it once again. At least this far this week was a bit of a change up. We at least see them on the stream for the first time in a while, but just not enough to make it all the way to the finals, unfortunately.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to head to a break. When we come back, it's going to be Lazarus up against DustTwo, a very important matchup for both these two teams, and we'll see you in a few.
down. I didn't know we actually switched it. Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, to the Guns of Boom Challenger Series for Season 2. You really just threw me out in the open there, didn't you?
I just think you would forget that you said that.
Yeah! I didn't think we were serious. I thought we were joking around.
Always serious.
Oh my goodness. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're heading into our grand finals of the day. It should be a very good match between DustTwo and Lazarus. DustTwo, of course, just probably... Cup's first going to want to confirm it just because we still have next week Cup 2, but probably confirming their position in a top 2 seeding, meaning they're going to qualify for the Brazil Pro Series event, but they have a chance to open the divide between them and the third place team forZe even further if they can upset against Lazarus, taking them down and earning them even more points for this week.
Yeah, so a very crucial match here for both these two teams, and also now you have forZe watch on the sideline hoping probably that DustTwo loses, because they're the team that's closest to you in contention for that second place, even though the gap is growing now. It's about, what was it, 45 points we said before we head to break? Which means they basically have to hope that they lose before semifinals.
Yeah, essentially, I mean, every time...
Even in semis, isn't it like 25 for semis?
Yeah, it's all right. Like, the difference between the overall points starts to, like, lessen the further you get into the tournament, basically.
So if they can win, and then they get knocked, and the other team gets knocked out, like, in semis latest, then there's still a chance to pass them.
But outside of that, DustTwo should have a pretty secure position here.
You know the frustrating part now for forZe is that like their fate's taken out of their hands, basically.
Yeah, it's like every time something goes badly for them, it's basically they're relying on some random chance that something happens next week that they cannot control whatsoever. Yeah. So it's a little bit rough here now for forZe in hopes of them trying to qualify for Pro Series once more, but it's looking better and better for DustTwo as each match tends to go by, it seems.
Yeah, so again, we're heading into Farming Complex, Military, Wild West Saloon, Skyscrapers, and Atrium if we do need a 4th and 5th map. Blue, how would you give me a prediction here?
Ooh, prediction? I'm still going to have to go with Lazarus.
Of what happens in the new... Oh, yeah. This match.
Okay.
This match.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Lazarus personally on this one. They've, remained a picture of consistency, I think, over a lot of their teams. There have been upsets that we've seen before. They have, slipped up. I think that there's still the possibility we'll see DustTwo at least pick up a map or two. However, I still think at the end of the day, Lazarus are going to come out with a 3-mapper to close this one out.
DustTwo 3 maps.
Wow, 3-0.
Yep.
All right, well,
I'm willing to throw down with you outside in a game of Pogs.
That's a bit of a walk. So, how about like in the hallway?
We'll play our match of Pogs. Winner keeps the Pogs.
What are Pogs?
Oh my gosh, you don't know what Pogs are?
I actually don't know what Pogs are.
Oh, I'll show you. I technically don't even know how to play. These little circle things. It's like a cart. I'll just show you. It's hard to explain. Anyways, what's also hard to explain, well, not hard to explain, is the lead currently DustTwo have. They've just been stacking up in terms of these eliminations so far. Spleen at 39 points. They should be able to lock down B. In the meantime, they're taking C as well as they're losing control of A. I don't know if we're going to have a trip cap come in here. I feel like Lazarus is a team that will adapt quick enough to prevent anything like that from happening. So far, DustTwo are maintaining that lead.
Yep, DustTwo again. They are the team that kind of wants, and more importantly, needs to secure a higher point advantage overall on the leaderboard here. So they would be the team that has more reason to try and close this one out in their favor compared to Lazarus, who still has a very comfortable 50-point lead over Lazarus at the start of this tournament today. Now, granted, that will be very different depending on the winner of this matchup. Lazarus is still in a good position to, at minimum, qualify, and then beyond that, they're just looking for the seeding over DustTwo going into the Pro Series event.
Doran, can he hit the shot onto Lord Mono? Especially have Excellence to fight as well. He can't take down both players at once, so B will be turned in the favor of Lazarus. They're still maintaining a 100-point difference in favor of DustTwo, but they're actually able to capture C. I think in the meantime, they were trying to fight over towards A, which they should be able to capture in a second. The problem is these are points that are so far apart from each other, it's really hard to maintain this kind of hold, and they could take B now. They have to worry about the respawns coming back through, and you can see this push out of Surgix is working out well. He's actually going to take down Divine King on top of this, and that was a massive swing. Look at the point difference now, almost 200.
Surgix doing some great work, specifically in holding back the respawns here now from Lazarus. Surgix going to try and continue to do that as, once again, he's able to pick up another frag here against Doran, taking him out of the fight. Armenian Ace looking for a rotate over to hold on to control of A, but that's also being pressured by Lazarus at this point. We're to keep them off of it as DustTwo, again, continue to hold on to, like you said, about a little over a 200-point lead that they have over Lazarus at this point. Lazarus is continuing to fight, but has had really no success at trying to get a cap advantage. Every time they steal the point, DustTwo gets a back cap just a couple seconds later.
Some really good reads out of DustTwo. 900 points in counting. Don't tell me there's a way they could potentially take 300 points. But we talked about, maintaining your lead. Well, they've been able to do so and still continue to build on top of this here. I mean, Ace is going to get A pretty much for free here. I didn't see anyone even contest him on this one. It's probably because the rest of the team of Lazarus over towards B and C. That leaves B wide open. You can see Armia is going to be the one to challenge out towards C. He's going to be in 1v1 up against Romeo. And Romeo, where art thou, Romeo? Well, he was on B for a second before the poison does kick in.
Got Spleen trying to hold on, but
terrible. I feel bad.
It's all good.
I'll give you a free punch on my shoulder.
That's all right. I don't need it.
Ah, blue! It's on my shoulder, not my face.
Well, either way, Lazarus are trying their best to make a comeback happen here in the last few seconds of the match. They do have, or at least had, a double cap. Again, though, DustTwo has been the masters of back capping them as they steal C away, or nearly steal C away. Gets denied by Excellence. Of course, it's not going to matter. Just the denial of points is what matters at this point. It stops Lazarus from concluding their own comeback, and as long as DustTwo at least control 1 point in about 2 or 3 seconds here, there we go, at 1208. DustTwo will take control of the opening map of the series.
Don't run at 12?
You all right?
I think I had a mini stroke there. 12 eliminations. I think it was Divine. The other side had 10. So some standout players from both teams. But again, just out of nowhere, DustTwo just seemed to kick into second gear.
I don't get it.
DustTwo, second gear?
Oh, okay. I kind of get it now.
I mean, it's probably what happens when you punch me in the face when we're on.
6 out of 10.
I'll take it. I'll take it. It's probably most of my jokes. But you can see, again, actually a big difference in terms of machine guns here between the two teams. But Assault had pretty much even split 2 for 2 on both sides. But I really wonder what happened in the camp out of Lazarus. Like, why did DustTwo all of a sudden just get that big of a lead? I think they just, read into the way Lazarus were playing and were able to just adapt around them at the right moments, at the right times, and make the right calls, which is ever so important. Thinking back to the pizza,
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it comes back in my eyes to the backcapping that was going on. DustTwo was constantly kind of running around Lazarus, and Lazarus just never really caught on to it. Lazarus, attempted to stop it on a few occasions, but relatively unsuccessful in doing that. And as a result, every time we saw Lazarus move in and either get the midpoint or take back their home point, they would lose another point that they also had control of. And you would just see this constantly get flip-flopped, and DustTwo just had at least a 1-point advantage for, I would say, a good 80 to 90% of the matchup there, which is why they had such a definitive lead coming towards the end of it.
Good little breakdown there. We're heading into our some TDM, some military. So are you still confident in your 3-0 for Lazarus?
That was you.
No.
I was the one who said 3-2 Lazarus.
Yeah, I said 3-0 DustTwo. I did. Literally go watch the VODs.
I'm going to go check the tape on that.
Because you said Lazarus and I said DustTwo. I went the opposite way of you.
I'm going to go check the tape on that one.
100,000% sure.
I'm going to check the tape on that one, I think. Viewers, let us know. On social
You
media.
could tweet to us.
Yeah, you could.
At J Kaplan or at J Kaplan.
Or if the social media person who's running the Guns of Boom account today knows this, please let us know.
If I'm right, I get 1 slap against your face as hard as I want to.
No, I did not agree
And I'm
to
not
this.
telling you when it's going to happen.
I did not agree. No, especially not that part.
No. How I Met Your Mother this.
What?
We'll slap bet this.
No, I'm not agreeing to that.
You're backing out. And you're not confident.
I'm not. I mean,
Seem
no,
pretty
I'm
confident
confident, but not for a slap in the face.
Okay, a slap on the back.
I got to work tomorrow.
A slap on the back. Because we need our faces.
Okay, I guess that's...
Oh, you don't know what you just signed up for, son. All right, so please.
I'm going to go put my jacket on before he does that, though.
It won't help you, son. It will not help you.
I've got a lot of jackets.
Training this. You see these calluses? You see these calluses on this hand?
I'm going to put like 6 jackets on.
Yeah, but I'm not going to tell you when I'm going to do it. Just going to wear 6 jackets permanently.
Yeah. That I'll just get away from you.
You can try. You can try. Okay, so we're obviously just trying to get back into the lobby really quickly. I think a couple players are starting to, sort some things out. But again, we still have North America to come up after this. I'm actually going to check really quickly on my tablet here.
Luckily, you're not allowed to have a phone on you, like when you're on stream.
Well, that's the only way I can look at the brackets.
Yeah.
So I'm.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Like, I've got a tablet. It's like basically the same thing, just bigger.
Hey, it's not about the size, okay? Okay, so in North America.
What are we checking out here?
Wait, it hasn't started yet?
Yeah, it starts like right when we...
What?
Wait, no, it should have.
Okay, well, never mind. Wait, let me see my teams.
I don't know, to be honest with you. I thought
maybe because it's the amount of teams who are signed up.
I guess we'll see on that in a little bit here, folks. But once again, we are going to be jumping into the second map, between these two teams in just a second here.
There you go.
And we'll see how exactly things pan out for that. What are you showing me? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah. Okay. You saw it, right?
Yes, I see it.
We both saw it. Did you guys see it? No.
No, because it's behind this physical barrier
Desk.
that exists.
A desk.
I guess it's more of like a desk, yeah.
What would you call it if it wasn't a desk?
It's like a banner because it's got the branding and stuff on it. It's got the nice little logo there. right? So it's kind of like a banner.
Like Bruce?
What's
Okay.
a new Avengers references?
No, I saw the movie. All right, so
I think a lot of people did.
probably I really want to know the box office numbers on that one because that's got to be insane.
Oh, I think that it already broke like 20 records. So
20. I didn't know there.
it broke like every like conceivable record known to mankind. So
Okay. Well, looks like we're just waiting for Romeo to ready. Okay. I'm gonna have a little bit of fun here. I approve. I approve.
Admin's about to overstep his authority here.
Okay, it's Polish though, so. I think he said pięknie. I think he said pięknie. You know what he said?
I think I do.
I think I saw the second word.
I think I do.
Okay. So I think Divine King has some high ping, so they're waiting for that to sort out, though I don't know how much time they're actually allotted because it's been at least 4 minutes since the last map. I think it's like you get 5 between maps if you technically want it, but then again, a map lasts like less than 5 minutes. I don't know, you'd be given the exact amount of time between, whatever. That's none of our business right now. It's our admin's business. But again, I guess to recap here, we have Lazarus currently in first place, DustTwo currently in second. If DustTwo win, they close the distance to 25 points between the two, and they lengthen their lead to 45. No, I think even if they win, they actually get beyond 45. They get up to 65.
Which at that point, it's like basically impossible for them to lose the second place position.
So if you're forced, you're really hoping right now DustTwo does lose, and we can see potentially a 3-2 comeback for the side of Lazarus. We have dropped back into game here, going with some TDM and see how things kick off now between the two teams.
All right, and let's take a look and see if Lazarus can swing things back or if DustTwo is going to be able to continue their run into the lead. Remember, guys, it's best of 5s now, not best of 3s. This is not going to be the final map. Even if DustTwo closes it out, we still have at least one more before we reach the end of our bracket for the day here in Europe.
He's here looking for a couple of shots. I'm actually curious to see if Dorn's sniping quite a bit here, too.
Oof. Double flashed.
Oof. You got 2 eyes, right? You got to blind them both.
That's the key to avoiding flashbangs. You just keep one eye closed during it. And
Yeah, I mean...
the double flashbang, that really gets you, though.
Or just put sunglasses on.
That's true. It is just bright, you know? Instant counter. So we see surgic move in, able to take out Divine King and Lord Mono. Armenian also able to pick up one. We're going to be seeing probably a whole lot of sniping action coming out from DustTwo overall. Doran, we basically expect it from him, but Armenian's also able to pick it up every once in a while here too. Divine King is going to be trying to do a little bit of it. And meanwhile,
yeah. I like you pointing that out, by the way, because Armenian did do that in their first match against forZe quite a bit when we were on Old Factory. He was hitting quite a few shots, even though they unfortunately didn't win that map. So it's nice to have that, secondary sniper who can just pick it up and use it to a good performance. Romeo, hate to see that. Unless you're a Lazarus fan, then you love to see it. Or a DustTwo fan, then you love to see it.
Either way, it's a bit of a stalemate actually between these two teams right now.
Juliet's family. Love to see it. I don't know who the last names in the play.
I
think it was Juliet Smith.
It's not definitely not Smith. It's definitely not Smith.
Wasn't it the Smiths?
It's like on the tip of my tongue.
Alabaster?
What's up?
Alabaster?
No, I don't think it's that.
McIntyre?
No. Where are you getting these names from? I don't think.
No.
Oh my god, I'm really mad I don't remember it. It's like on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, I'll figure it out after this game.
Kaplan?
Don't think so. Lazarus with a slight disadvantage against DustTwo right now, only by about 20 points. We can see that flipped around relatively quickly, but DustTwo are continuing to hold on to even about a 10-point lead. Lord Mono says bye-bye to Surgic, though, with a quick peek and a rocket shot to take him out and actually tie us up exactly. 288. DustTwo once again, though, will push ahead due to the sniping prowess at the moment coming in from Armenian Ace. However, Romeo, quick swing around the corner from him, shuts that down. Spleen will trade him out, however, and keep us...
Oh, wait, what? Spleen got that one's excellence. I did not expect that at all. I thought he was going to drop way earlier than he did. So it actually helps them maintain the 11-point lead. You can see now the pace has been slowed down here by DustTwo, taking their time. A nice little shot again out of Dorn does connect as well as Spleen. So that lead they had by 12 points is starting to creep up here. And the thing is that they're hitting like a lot of these good snipe shots to prevent themselves from taking too much damage so they can continue to fight on longer.
It's Montague and Capulet, by the way, are the family name.
Who's who? 1 second. Really? You looked at the names and didn't see who it was for.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't have the time to look this up right now. It's gonna have to wait till after the game.
Which one was the one on the tip of your tongue?
I think Montague was the one.
You think?
Yeah. I know it was an M.
Okay, well, 440 to 422. The pace is definitely slowed down between the two. Ooh, again, Doran, the perfect aim. The headshots coming out of this guy are fantastic. It takes him up to a 32-point lead. And if they take this, they're one map away from taking home Cup 6. Well, they're already home, but winning Cup 6.
And now we are going to see Excellence trying to get a snipe shot off as well. Ooh, they trade, actually. Doran and Excellence are both going to be able to pick up frags for themselves. See, the problem is DustTwo is now just one more shot away from closing it out. And there you have it. DustTwo get their second map under their belt here. 504 points to close out. And they now sit just one more map away from winning today's Cup and taking all the points that come with that, even furthering the divide between them and their prospective opponents next week. What was that?
Just get my hand ready.
Again, you definitely didn't say that they would win.
I definitely said DustTwo.
Definitely said it was Lazarus.
I definitely said DustTwo 3-0.
Definitely heard Lazarus 3-0.
You said Lazarus would win.
3-2.
And I said DustTwo.
I didn't hear that.
Okay, well, your back's going to feel it, I'll tell you that.
My ears are never wrong.
Anyways, well, we should be getting ready to hop into our third and potentially final map if you want to see me
Clap?
and practicing
Easy
claps. Yep. On this match. And again, like, it's still very important. I know we're having some fun with the show here, but if DustTwo win, like, they pretty much have confirmed themselves a spot into Brazil. And that's a team I didn't really expect to make it, considering we had Lazarus and we had forZe 1 and 2 for the entirety of the season. But that's just what comes to show. If you got to grind this out, you can't just win one cup and be like, all right, we got this. We can, half-ass the rest of it. No, you have to play week in, week out every time. And you can potentially come back from behind like this. And DustTwo, hey, they might make their way through to Brazil. Might be able to enjoy the Guarana
berry.
Over.
It's a berry.
Is it a berry?
Yeah, it's a
I
berry.
thought it was like a ghost cherry.
Ooh, actually, you might be right.
I thought it was a ghost cherry.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually. I think I had that one wrong. Pretty sure
It's like you had wrong about me not saying
We're
this.
checking the tape.
If it means I have to slap you as hard as I can in your back whenever I want.
The bet's not over until we check the VOD.
I'm going to check it. I'm going to literally go out of my way.
By then, I would have safely retreated into my hotel room. The door is locked. He's not getting in.
He's going to wait in your bathroom. You just don't expect. I'm going to get a room key from downstairs. Because, what was it, Yulia? Yeah, Yulia downstairs. She recognized me every time I come in. We're here every week.
I'm going to tell her to not give you a key
You
specifically.
don't even know which one's Yulia.
They have name tags.
You sure?
I think they do.
You've been wrong already a couple times today. Not really need much confidence here. So we're about to head into our third map, and we'll get this underway and find out if DustTwo can win in a 3-0 fashion or if we will be going to a fourth map here, which Lazarus are sure as hell going to need to keep their hopes alive of winning this cup. And again, forZe are watching, hoping Lazarus can somehow come back and take 3 straight.
Back to the Wild Wild West, where it could potentially decide the matchup here. Lazarus also still trying to fight for their way to claim this cup this week and take another victory under their own belt and really secure their final position going to Brazil as well. Keep in mind, they're also trying to make sure that they take #1 seed coming out of these cups. Obviously, we've got the pretty brutal battle for control of the central point right now. Kills have favored Lazarus in terms of both the scoreboard at this point, but however, DustTwo has taken the actual point. As we see, though, Lazarus is going to be working their way in. Will very quickly steal this away. So DustTwo just barely won that opening fight.
So a lot of damage being done here, and a lot of eliminations going the way of Red. Surgic again. This guy just seems to be stepping up when they need it. The point going to be uncontested for a potential Lazarus capture, which they'll be able to get here on the back of Lord Mono. He's eventually going to burn down those. Armenian Ace comes in from behind. And look at this, free damage in. No damage being returned onto them, but luckily Excellence hits a nice connection with that rocket to take down Armenian Ace to give Lazarus hope of maintaining the point.
We are going to see a bit of actually a quiet period now, which is very unrealistic for this map. Normally it's just constant fighting up to the bitter end of it. We are going to see. Oh no. That was wrong.
Yep. Thank you very much, whoever's
Twitter guy's supposed to have my back.
Nope.
This is a very one-sided Twitter guy.
It's like a one-sided match here, potentially, if DustTwo can take this. You know who I'm rooting for.
And we just really hope Lazarus comes back.
Well, hey, they're still doing it so far, 547 points. I mean, I said 3-0. If DustTwo don't win here, you're safe. Back's safe to live another day.
Let's see, as DustTwo are on the comeback right now. Doran shots being a nice part of that one as he continues to show up with this excellent play on the Barracuda. 2 shots in a row that he's hit here so far. He's going to look for a third in a moment. DustTwo, though, cleaning up 3 consecutive kills for them. And they're going to be able to move in, hold on to control this point, and in just a second, take away the lead as well.
Can't believe you took this bet. You're such a fool. Surgic, let's go, my boy. 586 to 583, and they're going to take the lead for one of the first times in this map and continue to pummel down here up against Lazarus. Surgic again coming up huge. 156 points for this guy. The Spleen as well, 151. A lot of players really standing out when they need it. They're eventually going to lose the point, though, it seems. But the respawn's going to be here. Doran again looking for some shots. If he connects on the mono, that'd be exactly what they need to take this point back. But actually going to be going into the saloon here with the sniper rifle still out. Oh, actually, he did switch last second. Spleen's going to push up here towards the fallen, I don't know which one to call his coach.
Yeah, stagecoach.
Yeah, there we go. Coach. Radiate's going to be shot from behind.
Lazarus.
And Lazarus been able to get a lead back on their side.
So Lazarus are going to be able to cut ahead once again. It's still an incredibly close matchup, though. And again, we've already seen DustTwo come back from a much larger deficit from this. The problem is, though, is that Lazarus is building up their lead right now. Romeo with a nice pick. He's going to be able to find a second one, actually. Double elimination on the Barracuda there. And even manages to make it a triple as well there. Very well played by Romeo, as he is able to push his way forward, nearly winning out the map now for Lazarus and saving my back.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I can really hear the excitement in your voice now when Lazarus get kill after kill here. 966, about 200 left to go here, and Lazarus will close this out and take us to a 4th map. But Doran is here to show up here. Divine King takes down Surgic, but Surgic's able to get the burn damage onto him, and the point will be turned over. This lead that we did have Lazarus have is going to be dwindled away at if they can continue to keep this pace up here for DustTwo. Both players towards the high side. And there you go.
Safe.
Back.
Safe.
It's safe for now.
We're good. No more bets today.
Smart choice. Smart choice.
But yes, this does mean Lazarus survives for now at a minimum. And we'll
So
be.
I get like a half slap?
No, you don't get anything. You can't add on terms after the bet's already over.
You were pretty.
See, here's the problem, though, is my bet didn't have a score on it. Well, it did. So it was 3-2.
Yeah,
but
it's blue.
But we're already at 2 for DustTwo. So if Lazarus makes the comeback happen right now, you're still in the hot seat.
No, I'm not.
You are.
There's no. Wait, there is.
Yeah, because I said they'd win 3-2.
Wait, but did we vote on that sense of like if you're right, you get it?
I mean, I would assume it goes both ways.
Okay. All right.
You try to wiggle out of this
I
now.
was getting clarification. I ain't scared.
What'd you say? Like,
I'm not scared.
well, Lazarus.
I was about to like one up it and be like, I'd let you slap me in the face, but no.
No.
You have to be
I
able to
wouldn't do
tomorrow.
that even if he let me do that. That's mean.
We definitely would need makeup tomorrow then.
Not doing any face slaps anytime soon. It'd be a very light face slap. It'd be like a.
And you don't like people touching your face either, so that'd be even like better.
I'm a hygiene kind of guy. What? Why did you laugh at that?
Nothing. Nothing. 4th map. Skyscraper's going to be coming up here in a few seconds, going back to some TDM.
And again, guys, remember what's on the line here for these two teams, specifically Lazarus trying to
No,
maintain...
forget the lines. Forget what's on the line for the teams. What's on the line for you right now?
It's not about us, ultimately.
But it kind of is.
In our minds, yes. In reality, no. We are going to see Lazarus attempt to complete this reverse swoop now. It'd be quite an incredible occasion if they could pull it off.
I feel like you'd be the type of guy to like save this slap for like years after you're done like working out your slapping skills. And you have a slap that can knock down walls.
I'm just going to come out with one really buff arm and the other one just hasn't been worked out.
Rick and Morty again, yeah. Or Quagmire, it depends on your route.
We'll see now as DustTwo also has a chance for redemption and a chance still for the relatively quick closeout at 3-1 if they can help this go into their favor. If not, Lazarus will be tying this up and taking us to a 5th and final map, taking actually all 4 to the... No, actually, because our 3rd place match did end up being a 3-0 if I recall correctly. But nearly all of our matches actually going to their full completion today, which actually we normally don't get, so a nice treat for you viewers at home.
It's not happening. DustTwo's going to win this one.
All right. We'll see if that holds true.
I feel like you're going to hurt yourself hitting me.
I don't know why like violence needs to be the bet, you know? It's like,
Okay.
I'd have been like, oh, buy me a Coke.
We can't change it now.
Yeah, of course
like
not.
a really
Like-
hot pepper. But I know. I
That's still violence. It's like, why does it gotta be
violence?
Why does it gotta be painful? Like,
because it's a bet, and if you lose a bet,
why can't I like buy you something or something like that? Like,
you can buy me that tablet you have.
That's okay. That's obviously a little pricey. I'm not,
Now you're putting like all these restrictions on.
yeah, because that's like $1,000.
You got the money, right?
I mean, I'd hope so.
Okay, well, you know what? DustTwo currently are fighting their way back here. I mean, Ace can be looking to drop down. And again, we haven't really seen DustTwo, sorry, grouping up too much, but I do like this play out of Armenian Ace coming from a different angle and provide the damage. And damage he's doing, him and surgeon together. Able to take down the 2 defenders in the point. Excellence can be flanking him from behind, but the call has been made. Spleen, turn around, son. And he should be able to eliminate.
No.
Okay, well, Excellence should fall. There we go.
Not before knocking off half the armor of Doran, though. Doran, though, is still going to be able to continue his rampage here as he moves forward. Picks up at least one more elimination before going down to Lord Mono. Still, though, a relatively close game, but it is Lazarus with the lead at 250 to 204, looking to push that advantage even further as they also have the majority of map control over DustTwo right now. You can see Spleen and some of the others trying to work their way out. A Rocket, I don't actually know if that one went out or not, but regardless, it does seem like it might have happened. And ultimately, Lazarus still holding the superior map control and just overall score advantage here for DustTwo right now.
Surgic working off a different angle. Doran's going to be coming in from behind. Surgic gets a double with a lot of damage being done from Doran. They get 3 unanswered eliminations now. Divine King, the last one left alive, and he'll fall. Just like that, clean sweep. Surgic can be low in HP, should fall in a few seconds here as Excellence is now switching over to the snipe here with the scout at long range. Spleen trying to hold down the far angle here.
Both teams going very passive as well, but Divine King gets a nice pick to finish off Surgic, who was basically one shot at that point anyway. So you think he was just hoping to maybe get off another shot or two before going down. Lord Mono picks up the next frag here against Armenian as Lazarus continue to push it forward. On King also picking up one, but Surgic, double from him over here on the triple, actually. Nicely done. He takes an excellent there as well. Really starts to push DustTwo back into it, actually. And look at this. All of a sudden, they're just a few points, and they take the lead just like that. Surgic on a streak. They get a lot of extra points because of that streak, and all of a sudden, they're back in the game. Just got to be careful that Surgic doesn't go down too soon here, as Lazarus will get the response points for ending that streak.
It should be fun, I guess, at the moment, especially the time's already passed now. Romy going to be coming around the far side. Look at this, just holding the angles. They're down in points, actually, so it's not like they're in the lead anymore, and they can afford to play passive, but hey, if Lazarus are going to keep running into them, why not? We're down to 1:15 left to go. The pace is going to have to be picked up here by DustTwo if they want to come back and win 3-1. Lord Mono on 1 HP. He's pretty much just a non-existent factor right now. He almost just needs to fall here, but the thing is, they're now 50 points away.
It's coming down to the wire here now. Lazarus looking to re-solidify and potentially open up the possibility for the reverse sweep 3-2. Meanwhile, DustTwo, their chances of closing out this series in their favor at all are drifting further and further away as both teams have gone incredibly passive. It's DustTwo that needs to push, though. That's the issue right now. Lazarus can sit back and let the timer run away. They're perfectly fine to let that happen. Not so much for DustTwo.
Surgic can't afford to fall. Spleen's just dropped. Surgic's on low HP. He's not going to be able to heal back up to get in these fights. You can see him trying to hold some angles, but now 30 seconds left. They're going to have to make a push somewhere. They have to send Spleen and anyone else who's healthy to the front lines to soak this damage. They can somehow get a clean sweep in this fight. They could potentially pull this off, but if they lose this one, it could be their demise. So they spot Divine King towards the side. Explosions come in, but not really connecting with too much damage. 13 seconds left. You have to make the move. You have to make the play. Divine King is low in health. Someone keep. You got to go. You got to make the call. 7 seconds left. It's coming down to the final fight here. 471 to 481. They actually take the lead here. Don't tell me they're able to pull this one off. 495 to stay alive, and they've done it. No backslapping today. DustTwo take the 3-1, and more importantly, get themselves almost guaranteed now into Brazil.
What an incredible last-second comeback that we get there from DustTwo. Amazing stuff from them, and they indeed will win today's cup. At 510 points there. They even actually win it on the points right at the end there, just before we actually close out on the timer. So
good bet.
Good bet, but no winner ultimately.
Good bet.
What's that?
What? We're shaking hands.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So well done by DustTwo. 3-1, so we're both wrong. Means you have to both slap each other in the back. No, not happening. But you can see Lazarus going to be a little bit sad about that. But forZe, I think more importantly, is going to be the one mostly disappointed now because their difference between them and second place is 7 points.
Yeah, unfortunately for forZe, the opportunity to come back in next week and potentially obviously reverse this and allow them to. Remember, this was forZe that had the second place position for like the previous 6 weeks leading up until this point.
75-point lead.
Yeah, so a massive upset just when you look in the overall cup spring here, the fact of how far behind DustTwo are leading up to this point, how far ahead forZe were compared to pretty much everyone else in the European region. But these last like 4 weeks have just been turmoil between all these teams.
Going into Cup 4, forZe was at 200 points in second place, and DustTwo was in third at 125. So back in Cup 4, they had a 75-point lead, and now they've lost it.
That's incredible.
Now they're down 70 points.
A huge fall from grace to, at minimum there. Let's take a look at the bracket one more time here, by the way, folks, in case you weren't with us earlier today. We did have the Gods of Boom rematch to start the day off. Ended up going into the favor of Lazarus this time as they took it 2-1. As you kind of expect here in these cups, Noble, unfortunately, has never really had a great track record for the Challenger Series. They dropped to third place, the third place match, where they eventually would take it. And then at the end of the day, we still end up seeing DustTwo come out of the overall cup and taking the lion's share of the point totals.
I think we should take a look at the standings as well, just to see how things have shaped up over the course of today. Look at that. Lazarus in first place at 400. DustTwo in second at 375. I think Lazarus can pretty much just not even play the next cup and they're through.
Yeah, more than likely. As unfortunately, even with a massive mistake by DustTwo at this point, if they're going to earn points at all, they're still going to be in a great position to just keep pace against forZe and make sure they hold on to second place, meaning that we pretty much have those top two teams locked at this point. We'll obviously wait for next week to get final confirmation on this, but it's more than likely going to be some combination of Lazarus and DustTwo. The only question being what order it's going to be in, and if we can see DustTwo actually pass Lazarus at this point.
I mean, even though it's pretty much confirmed the two teams, it's important to determine what order, because if you go through first place, well, it depends on the region, right? Because no first seeded team in EU got moved into the semifinals. No, wait, I can't remember. Anyway, seeding's going to matter. I'll just tell you that. Let's just end it on that.
Yep, absolutely. And that is going to take us into next week's European Cup, guys. So do be sure to be joining us for that. However, we're not done today just yet. We still have the North American Cup, and that's going to be coming up right after the break. Stick with us. We'll be back in just a few with your NA matches.